I was searching the internet the other day to see what people really think about money, and at first I thought to look at social media platforms like Instagram, Twitter, or even YouTube, but I think it's too easy to be polished up on those platforms, and so I wanted some raw truth. And that's when I came across the most reliable source of truth in today's day and age: Reddit. As I scrolled through a subreddit titled "Is Everyone Struggling Financially?", I realized I stumbled across a goldmine of financial problems just waiting to be fixed. So today I'm going to be reacting to some of those in what I'm calling Reddit React. Enjoy. Is everyone struggling financially? It just seems like everyone on Reddit and Twitter is struggling financially. Like, people are either not able to find work, working low-paying jobs while still living paycheck to paycheck, living at home with their parents, or having 3+ roommates. It also seems like the homeless population has pretty much increased overall in the US. Do you think things will get better in the future, or will it get worse? I mean, right away, I already think that yes, it feels like everyone's struggling financially, but if you're on Reddit, I think most people are always complaining. That's kind of what Reddit is for, right? I mean, I've kind of mentioned Twitter before, not on YouTube, but I don't really like Twitter. I think it's very negative and very toxic. And so if you're looking for financial advice on Reddit and Twitter from people who are doing nothing but complaining, then you're probably going to feel like everyone else is struggling. Also, we all know that things have gotten a little bit more expensive the past few years, and so that's probably what you're feeling as well. But let's look at some of these and see what people are saying. Not struggling, but noticing how much more I'm spending on daily needs. Everything has gotten so much more expensive in the last 2 years. Yeah, that's true. I think, let's look up cumulative inflation the past 5 years. I think it's something like 20%. If in January 2000, let's just say 19, I purchased an item for $100, then in December 23, that item would cost $121. Yeah, it's 21% increase in inflation since 2019. That's not even including this year. Things are feeling a lot more expensive. 20% is a big chunk, and so you're exactly right. Daily needs are gonna feel like they're a lot more expensive. Look at this person. Literally, I stopped buying paper towels, dryer sheets, coffee creamer, things I would normally consider necessities to save money. Absolutely nuts. I've never used dryer sheets in my life. I would not call those necessities, but I get it. The things that are, little daily uses, they feel like they're too expensive and you can't use them anymore. I get how this would feel overwhelming. I'm doing all right, but if I lost my job, I feel like it would take me a long time in this market to find something that pays as well as this. It's why I feel a little insecure and praying I don't get laid off, LOL. Yeah, I get this. I think in 2022, I spent about 6 months looking for a different job. I probably sent out 300+ applications, got interviewed maybe 2 or 3 times, and didn't land a job at all, right? And maybe that's my fault. Maybe my resume sucked and my interviewing skills weren't that good, but I get it. It feels like the job market is a lot harder than it used to be, and everyone's looking for specific jobs, especially if you're looking for a remote job. Good luck finding it, because those are only going down, and everybody wants one still, right? So I would also feel that if I got laid off, it would take a long time to find a job, and that's also why I talk about having a 12-month emergency fund in your savings if you can. I know conventional wisdom and conventional financial advice says to have a 3 to 6 month emergency fund, but I would feel very rushed if I only had 3 months to find a new job. I'd feel much better if I had a full year knowing I could pay for all my expenses if I had 0 income coming in. So that's why I would recommend the bigger your emergency fund right now, probably going to help you a little bit more, feel more secure if you are looking to get a new job if you happen to get laid off, which I hope you don't. Yeah, so let's check out this one. This one's crazy. I can't even sleep at night at this point. I'm just on the edge 24/7. I can't afford food. I'm struggling to even hit a daily goal just to hit rent this month. I'm basically living out of my car, and the ungodly amount of hours I'm putting in between 2 restaurant jobs and driver gig apps, all of which are dead and only get worse as days pass. I'm exhausted and hungry all the time. This is just madness, like I see no end or future. I just don't understand why something as basic as a roof over your head and food has become a luxury. This is hard, right? Because restaurant jobs already don't pay that much, and you have to work kind of crappy hours, and then driver gig apps, I've also heard that they're not doing that great lately, maybe in the past year or so. The biggest problem here that I see is an income problem. I would do everything I can to find roommates and lower my monthly expenses as much as possible, and then also try to find different jobs. If you can lower your expenses with a couple of roommates, it doesn't have to be a wonderful place to live, right? But if you can lower your expenses just enough to get some savings, long enough to where you don't need 2 jobs and driver gig apps, then you could spend that time trying to find a higher paying job that isn't as terrible as what you're doing now. Check out places like LinkedIn or Indeed.com, right? I would be putting my resume on all those. If you're this desperate, I would do everything I can to not only apply on places online, but like go in person. You know, nobody's doing that anymore, and I think that could really help you stand out. So if you're in a situation like this, and I would do everything I can to lower expenses enough to where you can save up to where now you've bought yourself time to then go find a better job. That's the only way you're going to get out of this. You cannot work 2 jobs, 2 restaurant jobs, and a driver gig app the rest of your life, because it's going to feel like this. It's going to feel really crappy. That's my thoughts on that one. I have an IT career that pays really well, and I own my own house with a small mortgage that I can easily afford, and no debt other than a little bit left on my car loan. However, to get ahead, I bring in $1,000 per month Uber driving. That enables me to save more aggressively and just have more wiggle room. It feels a little crazy for an IT professional to drive Uber on the side, but that's just how things are these days with the high cost of all things. Yeah, I think that's really good, right? I think, careers in IT have always been very lucrative. They pay really well, and I don't think that's going away, especially with AI now. I think people are afraid that any type of software engineering or IT is going to go away, but who needs to build the AI? Think about that. We need really good engineers to be able to build and develop all this stuff. This is great. This guy's got an IT career that's doing really well. The car loan, he's saying he needs $1,000 a month just to get ahead. I think you could also just get rid of the car loan, buy a car that you don't even need a loan for, right? You can get a decent Toyota or Honda for $8,000, and then you no longer have a car loan, and now you have all of that extra cash to put away for saving and investing, and then you wouldn't need to drive Uber. Now, this person could do both and get $1,000 per month from Uber and not have a car loan, and that would be, twice as good. But if you have a decent paying job in a career field like IT that does really well, I think you're gonna do okay. All right, this one looks interesting. Yes, in a way. My ex and I broke up, and we went from splitting a condo to each living alone, and now my rent alone is $2,000, and I have student loans and other bills. My family was smart with their money, but we immigrated here to the US when I was a month old and lived middle class. Once my grandparents passed, my mom became a single mom. My dad's always been around, but never thrived too well on his own. I see a lot of people say they're doing good and without family help, but I think they figured out better financial decisions at a younger age than me. See, that's really key. If you have kids and you can teach them good financial habits now, it's gonna stick for the long run. I promise you. I was fortunate enough that I was taught how to handle money in a very wise manner. When I was a little kid, I was already interested in money and I was fascinated by it. I always wanted to save it and hold on to it, but that stuck with me since a young age, right? And so if you can instill that in your kids at a very young age, they will have so much more time to be smart with it instead of, struggling in their teens and their 20s, and then by the time they're 35, they figure out, oh, maybe I should get my financial life together. Do it when you're 15. Your very first job, start then. Start by saving, start by investing, and then pay your bills. That's a really good habit to start with in general. Pay yourself first, and how you do that is by saving some money, investing some, and then whatever's left you can use on bills and going out to eat with your friends and whatever. But make sure you put that away first, because your future self will thank you for it. I was doing really good when I was living with my ex. I saved 40% of my check, but naturally all my costs have risen. I plan to, in the next 12 to 24 months, feel more secure. Yeah. I make a 6-figure salary, but in California it feels tight. And I'm assuming 6 figures is like right around 100K. That's not going to go super far, but it is still good enough to save a bit and invest a bit. If that's the best you could do for now, do what you can, right? Maybe even get a couple roommates now, since now your rent is $2,000. I'd look for roommates. If you're young, you're not married, get some roommates. It really helps lower the cost, and that can be tremendous. Even if you split it in half, that's $1,000 you're saving every single month. And that's huge. 12 grand a year put into savings and some investing, that's more than enough. Try to find some roommates if you can. If anyone's young out there and you don't have roommates, find some roommates. I hope you enjoyed hearing some of my thoughts on those Reddit posts. I made this video because I wanted to get an idea of how people actually feel about money and give some practical advice, or at least some different options that you have. Leave a comment if you like this type of video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Yeah, that's... Dude, people are so negative on Reddit.